Hi, guys. Cecile Edwards here of the Mommy Matters podcast. I have to tell you, if you have not heard about Anchor, it is the easiest way to make a podcast. Let me explain. It's free. There's creation tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or computer. And Anchor will distribute your podcast for you, so it can be heard on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and many more. Did I tell you that you can also make money from your podcast with no minimum listenership? It's everything you need to make a podcast in one place. So download your Anchor app or go to Anchor FM, anchor.fm to get started. You will not be dissatisfied.
Welcome to the Mommy Matters podcast, where Mommy Matters is a double entendre that states and declares that mommies matter, where we have conversations surrounding mommy matters, from conception to pregnancy to postpartum, mother and father wounds, dating, mindfulness and self-care, spirituality, parenting, discipline, legislation, money, and so much more. It is my hope and my prayer that the information that you gather here serves as a blueprint for generational and individual ascension. Enjoy. Welcome to the Mommy Matters podcast. My name is Cecile, and I have a lovely guest today. I cannot wait for this conversation. It is going to be juicy. So I'm not even going to waste any time because I need all of our minutes to be utilized well. Okay. So I want to welcome Kerri Hummingbird, and I'm going to turn it over to you so that you can introduce who you are and let the audience know who you are.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I'm Kerri Hummingbird. I didn't start off as Kerri Hummingbird. I changed my name after my divorce, after I ended my 20-year marriage. And, I changed my name based on a vision of a hummingbird I had in a meditation journey. And I realized that was a message from Spirit about, who I am. And so I said, thank you. I'll change my name to that. And so now I'm a soul guide. Before I was a high-tech person, high-tech Silicon Valley person. I'm a mom of 2 kids of my own. I'm remarried, and so I've got 2 little ones now. And so we are, I think it's like, is it blocked? I think that, is the signal not good?
I can hear you just fine.
You can hear me? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm a mom of 2 kids, my own 2 kids, and I have 2 inherited kids from my new marriage, and so 4 kids total. And I'm a soul guide, and I'm an author and podcaster like yourself, and just trying to do the best I can to get the messages out there, be a messenger.
Absolutely. And so when you say you're a soul guide, I think that needs some unpacking and explanation. Not everybody understands that terminology, right? So what does that mean
Yeah.
exactly?
Well, to me, in the most basic sense, it means that people who are really ready to discover their greater self, the one beyond their body, and to discover their direct access to God, source, creator, universe, spirit, whatever your word is, those are the people I guide to help find their own path to that connection so they can navigate it themselves and take their own journey with a connection to that greater force. And so I just guide people to find their own path. So this is not religion, this is spirituality. This is a personal inner journey, and I guide people on that journey.
And why is that important? Why do you feel that was important for you to do?
Well, because Great Spirit saved my life. I mean, I've got myself pretty run down into a big pit of despair at the end of my 20-year relationship, after struggling in that relationship to make it work, and having kids and having all the pressures, and having all my inner dialogue, 20 years of sitting on a couch in psychotherapy trying to fix myself, to be acceptable. And all of the culmination of all of those pressures led me down to a space where I felt despair. I felt like I wanted to end my life. I felt like my kids would be better off without me. And so I didn't luckily do that, but I did walk out of the relationship, and I did walk away from psychotherapy, because after 20 years, if it hasn't worked yet, it's probably not going to work for me. So I said, okay, I surrender, whatever's next, like, show me the way. And it was that decision to just take that leap of faith that started the next part of my life, which has been 9 years in the making now, which is awesome. Like, I finally opened a door. Now my life is built on a foundation of spirit, of great spirit. And that has totally unfolded my life in a whole new way. My marriage now with my second husband is based on spirit. It's based on commitment to that higher self. And everything is going smoothly. Like, we faced way more challenges in our short time together than probably in the whole 20 years that I faced with my other husband. But since our foundation wasn't in spirit, we really had some challenges, and things got bad, and it got, pretty dark and dismal. So I think it's kind of like really important, because your life changes in drastic ways when you open to that divine self that's
Mhm.
just right there the whole time, but just waiting for you to say uncle. Like,
Right, right,
okay.
right, right. I love that you it sounds to me, from my own personal understanding, that there was the decision to have that direct connection to divine, as opposed to feeling like you could go through something or someone else to find that. Right, so you are finding
Yes,
that through your own direction. You, of course, there may be people and things that are put in your path to help you, but it's still your work to do. And I think that
it's my
that's
work. Yeah.
something that many of us, when we're talking about, when I have a conversation about self-care, for example, that's the other thing that you said that struck me, was that when you were in the relationship, the 20-year relationship, you just weren't taking care of yourself, basically, in a healthy way, mentally, spiritually, emotionally, etc. And this is something that I personally impress upon my audience, that as a mother, as a wife, whatever your job, if you're not taking good care of yourself, then however you bring yourself to those things is going to be muddled, and it's not going to be pleasurable. It's not going to be empowered. It's not going to be, and so this is the power of having some holistic self-care in there, and really taking charge of your mind, body, and spirit. And so I love that you pointed that out and said that, and gave that contrast between how you are in your current relationship and how you were in your relationship, because that
Well, I thought I was taking care of myself, Cecile.
mm,
I really did. I mean, I was going to get massage.
right,
I was
that
going to
kind of
get my
care,
pedicure.
right. Hmm.
I thought I was taking care. I was going out to dinner with my husband on date nights.
Right,
I, we were going away on vacations. I thought that was self-care,
right,
but it wasn't the deep inner
deep,
self-care.
right, exactly. It wasn't deep, it wasn't holistic, it wasn't based on the inner pull. It was
Yes.
based on an outer pull.
It was
I
like,
want to
the
be
answer's out there to make me feel better, and I need to go get it. And it was in that bottle of wine. And then, oh, it wasn't.
right,
you know,
right.
we all do it. So it's fine.
We all do it. We
We
all
all do it. We find ourselves at the bottom of the bottle of wine and go, my answer wasn't there.
right. For me, it was the bottom of the Oreos
Or the Oreos, or the whatever other
or
addiction.
ice cream. I like
Yeah.
sugar was my thing for a long time. Thankfully, it's no longer, but whatever it is, but that's that we can get into a whole conversation about addictions and what they do. In fact, I had a conversation earlier about that, and how they numb us from feeling what we're supposed to feel. So well, what we can feel to have a better relationship with ourselves, I should say. So anyway, so that is a great segue, I feel, into your book, The Second Wave, which I absolutely adore. And what I love about it is that what I've read so far, I'm getting into it, and you all should too. Um, but what I absolutely love about it is the clarity. It's like it's so clear that you can see yourself in that process, or very identify with your own process through what you were seeing through your own process. And I absolutely love that, because I feel like, you know, with all that is going on energetically, people are not thinking about what's happening energetically, just physically. Like, you know, people are reacting to the events and not the energy behind the events. And so I absolutely love that you talked about that. But what I also love is that you transform the fact that you knew that you were a healer, which I also know that I am. And I've been told this before, and I've actually had visions of this, of me wanting to be this lone person living in the mountain. And this,
Oh
this
yeah.
phrase that you said, I didn't come here to dwell on the mountaintop. But I also interpreted that many ways. You know, we always say that, or I have been saying for the past few weeks that, you know, I've observed that there's a lot of people out here who have all of these specializations every week. You know, one week it's, you know, they're the, what do you call it? Virus specialist. The next week they're the, you know, this specialist and that. And it's like, you know, you can't live your life from the mountaintop of thinking that you're better. But you also, when you're in tune spiritually, you have to find ways to transform yourself so that you bring that divine message and light into the world, right, in a way that is palatable. And you can do that through anything. Right, you can do that through anything, literally. So I want you to talk some about your book and your process of writing it, how it's been impacting others, etc.
Yeah. So, well, that book is really different than my first book. My first book is Awakening to Me. And that book I wrote over 2 years as I started the process of inner transformation. And so it was a very personal book, and it was like, it took a long time to write it. This book I got the tap like February 2019, said, "You're going to write this book." And I said, "I don't even know what this is about. What's it called?" The Second Wave. I said, "How am I going to write it? I don't know anything about that." And then I got directed to find out, to go look up this video I'd seen from Dolores Cannon, she has passed away now, but she wrote all these interesting, really far out there books called The Convoluted Universe, which I've tried to read and I can't read it because I'm not ready. I fall asleep. So anyway, she also developed this hypnosis technique. It's called Quantum Healing Hypnosis Technique, QHHT. And a lot of people are getting trained in that now and have been for years, and now by her daughter, who's continuing the work. That technique helps practitioners to help people to get in such a deep state of relaxation that the practitioner can ask questions of that person's soul, or they call it the subconscious, and get answers. And so she realized that she could bring people into this deep state of hypnosis, but they would still be able to answer questions. So she started asking questions, and what they started telling her, these people that were being interviewed under hypnosis, was, "Hey, I'm part of the first wave, or I'm part of the second wave." So she started diving in. Well, what is that? And what these people were telling her in this hypnosis state was that they were volunteers to the planet. They decided they were souls, old souls, experienced souls that decided they want to be on planet Earth at the time of the transition into the age of Aquarius, because this is a huge awakening for humanity. This is like, we are all awakening, we're ascending our consciousness, we're opening up to like a whole new experience on Earth, and they wanted to be here for that. So the only way to be here for that is to be here and embody as human, because, you know, aliens coming down to the planet and telling us how to live probably won't work out that well. We've seen a lot of movies that would depict our response to that, you know, right? Like, we will try to destroy them. We will bring our nuclear weapons and our firepower, right? So that doesn't work. This is a planet of free will. So the only way to transform this planet is to get embodied as a human and transform it from the inside out, every single person in the mission. So those of us who are here on part of this second wave, if this is resonating for you, you probably have always been like, what is wrong with people? Why are they like this? How come they don't know to be loving? Right? Like, what is the matter with them? Like, the whole life you've been thinking, why are they acting this way? Or you've been really gullible and like easy to like deceive because you trust, and you're like, why are people like, oh my gosh, you're shocked that they're acting this way?
Very
And
idealistic, quote unquote.
idealistic, yes. And so that's second wave Hallmark. And then you also had like a super challenging family, like family dynamics or environment or your school or community or something was really like challenging, and you had to show up in a big way beyond your years, like your years on earth, beyond your age. You had to show up like an adult in that situation, and everybody else was like not able to deal with it for whatever reason. So that's kind of some of the hallmarks of somebody that's from the second wave, is that you just have an inner knowing that other people don't seem to have, and you're able to navigate things a little bit better than other people just by some innate gift or knowing, and that you never lost sight of what love was, and you never stopped striving for it. So you would just like went after personal development like a hallmark of your life, like I got to get me some of that, like I am going to transform this. So you just had that innate desire to like get in there, change things, learn, grow, evolve. And so you have. And so the only thing we're doing now is you already did the work. So if this is all resonating for whoever's listening, this is resonating for you, then I just want you to be reassured that you already did a big part of the work. So if you're kind of sitting there like, I know I've got a big purpose, I know the time is now, I have no idea what my purpose is, I'm really bothered because I can't figure it out, you already did it. So relax. Now all you need to do is remember who you really are. And that's why the book is out there, is to remind you all the stuff you already knew. Because Cecilia, as you read the book, you're like, I already knew that. I remembered that, or I thought that myself, or yeah.
Yeah.
All I'm doing is telling you what you already know.
Already, all of the things that you talk about, I either experienced it, you know, help walk people through it, my own, you know, and I actually call it generational curse breakers. That's my terminology for it. People
Yes. Oh, good. Yeah.
Generational curses, transcending all of these ideologies and beliefs and these things that don't even make sense, quite frankly, oftentimes, that we carry around and we perpetuate and we repeat over and over again, and it's like, that doesn't make sense. Okay, let's just be honest now. So I intentionally, you know, call that a generational curse breaking, because it's like almost a curse on your life, because as you describe in your book, that what that ends up doing to you is that you end up, and I know many can resonate with this, even as moms, mothers, we take on the persona of what people want us to be, or what we think will make others happy. And so we get clouded by all of that, and it literally, I believe that and I've been saying this for years, it causes us to develop physical issues. And Black women specifically, we deal a lot with fibroids, and I personally believe that has a lot to do with it. Us being unwilling to recreate ourselves and go back to our essence. It's time for that. And I think that it causes all of this depression, anxiety, and these other disorders that you see that is just popping up just everywhere. And so I want you to talk a little bit about that, and some of the things that you learned through your process of your awakening.
Yeah, I love it. Everything you just said is so powerful. And I'll just echo that, yes, my journey has confirmed that we are here to heal generational patterns, generational curses, patterns that have come down through the generations that have trapped people. It's like, you know, the sins of the fathers are revisited upon the sons, and the Bible says that, but we don't, like, we just like go whoosh, you know, like it doesn't make sense.
What does that mean? Exactly. Let's talk about that.
It's because it's epigenetics. It's because it goes, you know, so all of our ancestors' experiences live on in our bodies until the traumas are processed and healed. Anything that your ancestor went to death without healing is now yours. So, and, you know, also all of their wisdom they gain is also yours. So, you know, it's both. You get the good stuff and you get the not so good stuff. You get the stuff you want and you get the stuff that's not helpful. So in my case, like I have lots of generational energy around mothers. So my next book I'm working on is called Healing the Mother Wound. So I don't know how far it goes back, but there's been generations of mean moms, like just generations of mean mothers, like all the way back. And I think it started probably before this, but the one I know about the best is that my great grandmother was here, and she was this Irish woman, and she's got these like 13 kids, and she's a migrant farm worker, and she's got to keep all those kids in line and make everything happen so food's on the table and everybody survives. That is a lot of pressure. And so, yeah, you could definitely be a mean mom in that circumstance, right? So there's a lot there. And so my mom suffered from, my grandmother growing up in that environment and kind of getting some meanness too, like I'm going to grab the switch and switch you with it, that kind of thing, and just all kinds of other things. And then my mom kind of inherited some of that, and then she passed it on to me. And then I kind of got like, I don't want to ever be a mean mom. So I like squashed all my voice, and I ended up getting like a huge ovarian cyst on my right ovary, that got taken out along with my marriage. So I married somebody who was a lot like my mom and was, nag, 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 ping, 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 criticize, 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 tear you down, tear you down, tear you down kind of person. And I didn't set a boundary on that, because when you're raised in that environment with somebody who's like a covert, aggressive kind of person, you learn to hide, like you learn to not come forward with your energy, yes. Right? You learn to kind of like cower and like, look for the right opportunity, right. to be free somewhere else. You learn strategies. And so you usually pick a partner. Yeah.
That in everything, by the way, not just in, your family. You're going to do that at work. You're going to do that in business. You're going to do that in everything. Because that's just the nature of, energies and how they move around. Okay. So, yeah.
Yeah. And as a mom too, and you can start to see it like when you become a mom. That's why when I became pregnant and I had my first child, I was enjoying the pregnancy experience, and then the baby came, and I had huge postpartum depression. Like all of a sudden, all this like early childhood trauma that I experienced 0 to 5, all of this other stuff from my early childhood just rose to the surface and started coming out. And I was like going through a dark night of the soul as I'm trying to like take care of this little baby. It was tremendously hard. And I got in therapy, I got on drugs, like I did all the things, but like it was so profound, the pain and the embodiment of all that pain. And then, trying to nurture when you're on empty, like all of that. And then with a husband who's also like a nitpicker and a criticizer and like, like everything's wrong, so it's like, oh, so, I coped with that for whatever. I did the best I could, but I didn't actually start healing that until I walked away from the marriage and until I walked away from psychotherapy, which it just wasn't getting deep enough. Like it was just here at the mind, but it wasn't getting deep enough. Like it needed to go deep, really deep, like super subconscious deep. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Body deep.
Body deep. Absolutely. And you're not the first person that I've heard say that when it comes to therapy and such. And, I know that a lot of people may get flack for not wanting to go to therapy and things like that, but it may be something deeper than just not wanting to go to therapy. It may be that they sense that it's not going to give them what they need, perhaps. I know I personally, when I did go to therapy, I only went to people who knew other modalities, of mm-hmm. Spiritual modalities, who knew hypnosis, for example, and things like that. And this is why I say I don't even like to call it healing. I call it your ascension needs to be holistic. It needs to be holistic. And as you were talking about your grandmother and the inheritances, it made me think of, because people, when I first started in my process of talking to, and I talk mostly to Black women, and for whatever reason, we have this ability to hold on to, well, I know the reason, but we don't want to, in our culture, we don't, talking about your mother or being, a certain way, talking about your mom and issues that you may have had with your mom is very like taboo. And so, I've noticed that a lot of us like to hold on to that. And I would hear often in my process and talking to different women, oh, but that's your mom, oh, you have to forgive because these are the things that happen. And I'm like, I get that, but we have to be honest. I feel like truth is the serum, right? That's the body work. You have to be truthful. Sometimes you don't know what it is that you're feeling, but whatever it is that you're feeling, whatever words you can put to it, put it to it, right? Because that's the part that's started, and you can't keep it up here. right? You have to let it out. You have to give it some kind of voice in order, or put it on paper. I think giving it voice is, way more powerful than anything. And so I love that you said that, because what it confirms for me that not only do we need to heal as the daughters, but we have to be very conscious that we are also healing our past generations and giving voice to things that they probably could not have, well, they couldn't give voice to.
And we're helping to teach our kids that by demonstration about the spiritual journey of their life, that, here, it's just, this is part of the stuff that's coming up for the new book, the Love is Fierce, Healing the Mother Wound, is that it is a big setup. It's a big setup. When you come in your mom and you're growing inside your mother, she's wrapping you in webs of her belief system, her ancestry, the way she perceives the world, the way she thinks about the world. You're like stewing in her emotions, her thoughts, her consciousness for 10 months. So it's intentional, so that when you come out, you're ready to face whatever the life is, right? It's a totally intentional thing. And it's like your essential self gets covered up by all of this other person's life story.
Already
It's like,
you even
before you even come out, whether you're a woman or a man, you come inside, you're in your mom. So, so if we want to heal this thing, we have to be able to be honest about the world that our mother created for us through the level of consciousness that she had when she was birthing us and then raising us. And it's not a blame thing. I think that if people could really understand, this is not a matter of blame. We understand how hard it is, especially once you become a mom. You're like, oh man, that thing was hard.
Hello.
Hello, it's the hardest job on earth. So, but we have to be able to be honest about it. So the more strong we are as mothers, and the more strong we are as daughters, let's say that, the more strong we are as daughters and can fearlessly stand in the truth and compassion for our mothers. Like, hey, mom, this stuff was messed up, and I see it. I know why it happened. It was for me. This is my strength I derive from it. I claim that as my own. I'm empowered now by it. You didn't do anything wrong. You were my perfect teacher, whether, I would judge it or not from today. You were my perfect teacher because I got everything I needed. And now I can serve that for my children, right? As the mother, now I teach them, hey, it's okay. You're going to be angry with me. It's okay. Some of the stuff I gave you as my webs of stories of life don't fit. And you're like, I don't like this story. I don't want that story. Don't tell me who I am. I'm my own person. Or I don't like that you did this. Or when I don't like this. That's okay. That is part of your defining who you are. And I'm not threatened by that, because I know that in order for you to find yourself, you've got to get through my webs. It's like, I'm the cocoon and you're the butterfly. You got to push your way through my webs to find yourself. That is a powerful position to be in. So if you're a mom, you just got to know that you have props. Like, no, I don't think God's great source spirit would put anybody in that position that wasn't ready for that. Right. That's a big position of power, and power has got to be used responsibly.
Absolutely. Yeah. That's self-love. That's self-love. That's sovereignty. That's because to do inner work like that, you have to believe that you're worthy of greater. You have to believe that you're worthy of greater. And so that is self-love. That is going to transcend, your self-care is going to transcend anything surface. And you're going to realize that the work is not just about you and your mother or your feelings.
It's a bigger picture.
The huge, massiver, is that a word? Massiver?
Massiver. I like it. It is massiver. It's because the indigenous people that I study with, the Native American tribes and South American tribes that I study with, the teachings that come from these, from my training, have taught me that when we heal ourselves, we heal 7 generations forward and 7 back. So as we do deep healing, and those of us who signed up, to be part of the second wave, and we said, that sounds like fun. I'm going to check all the menu options. Oh, abuse, emotional abuse. Oh, rape. Yeah, torture. Oh, like all of this stuff. Like we said, that sounds great. I'm going to go and heal that. Well, then you got to stand up for that healing. You're doing it on behalf of your whole ancestral line. forward and back, not just yourself. And it's that important. And it's that knowing of how important it is that has helped me claim the healing every step of the way, because it has not been pretty on the personal level. Like I have gotten, like I'm getting stonewalled, by like pretty much my whole family, my mom, and then everybody teams up with her because, she's a matriarch. So like I'm getting stonewalled by like everybody in my family right now because I talk about these things, because I get out there. And even though I'm not talking about it from a place of judgment, I'm just saying, hey, this stuff happens, it's very matter of fact. It's like, you got to go and heal it. Like you have to face it. You have to confront it. You can't just play nice and be a pleaser. Like you got to call it out. Like when there's aggressive narcissism, you got to call it out. When there's this, you got to call it out because you have to heal that. That's what you're here to heal. And you got to help, and I'm here to help other people. So that's just part of my role. So I get stonewalled, So what gets me through it is this knowing in my heart that this is my purpose and this is what I'm here for. And there's a bigger picture that's way more important than my personal discomfort right now.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a hard pill to swallow.
It is.
However, what I've discovered is as you go through your process, you realize that it's actually much more peaceful to be able to conjure in your thoughts and meet people where they are than it is to be with them and be rolled over by them in some way, shape, or form. So it's like, it becomes easier to own your uniqueness in your journey and what it is that you're bringing out. So it's a process. It is a process. But all of this makes me think of the power and the purpose of motherhood and how motherhood really is a call to reclaim sovereignty and to teach it. Because, yeah. I mean, I feel that as a mother, and this is why I do the work of Mommy Evolve, as a mother, this is our time to really define, reclaim, and bring our children back into order. And I always say that you don't have to have children to be a mother. That's not the definition. The definition is to be able to be someone who nurtures, cares, and understands and is connected and rooted in the earth and what it is that she actually needs at this point. And so this is the time to reclaim that principle of mother. If mother wasn't powerful, then we would not have called earth mother, right? We know that, like, the all-sustaining earth is mother for a reason. As well as why we use a lot of words, phrases to describe mother, or things to describe other things that are regenerative and powerful and such. And so as I was reading through your book, you talk about something that I think is going to be is an important piece of motherhood that sometimes we miss, and sometimes is what misses us in getting through to our children and to other people, and maybe even sometimes to ourselves, and that's play and reclaiming innocence. Mm-hmm. I think that is so important to sovereignty and to self-care and to self-love and all of those things. What are your thoughts on that? Oh, Kerri, are you there? I'm not able to hear you. Oh. Hello. Just give us just a moment as as Kerri comes back into the room. But I hope that I know that you're gaining plenty of value from this, and you are able to really see yourself in some of this that is being discussed. And, this idea of sovereignty and self-care is really powerful, because in order to say that you are a sovereign being, a person that stands in their own, it's not standing alone, you're standing with the divine. You're standing in your spirituality. So that is a huge piece of that, and that is what we are trying to, or what we are displaying here in that conversation. So, Kerri, are you able to hear me? I see that your microphone is open. Are you able to hear me? Are you muted? No, you're not muted. All right. So we are going to, I'm not able to hear you, Kerri. Perhaps you're muted on your side. I'm not sure. You can perhaps try. Yeah, I see that you're not muted, but I'm not sure why I'm not hearing you. Hello? Yeah, I see that you logged back in, and we were getting juicy with this. Well, it's all been juicy, but I'm not sure. Do you want to try one more time to log back in and see how that works? Perhaps just a few seconds. I thank the audience for waiting and for giving us a moment to calibrate. I think today started a Mercury retrograde or something. Usually those things I don't pay attention to it, but I cannot ignore the the fact that that is something that is happening today. Just saying. So perhaps that's the reason why, even though I don't feel like I'm ever affected by those things, but hey, you never know. You never know, I might be affected now. So yeah, I was just talking about the Mercury retrograde, and is that what's happening? I don't know. All right. All right. I'm still not able to hear you, unfortunately. Yeah, no, I'm still not able to hear you. I don't know what happened. I don't know if you're using a microphone on your end. I don't recall seeing you with one on your ear, but sometimes they're not open, or on your computer. Um, Sometimes the headset is not open, and that's the issue. So yeah, we can. I'll stop recording. All right. So to the point of the question about motherhood, teaching sovereignty, reclaiming our sovereignty, and then expanding that out into everything that we do. I think it's so critical for me, for example, I'm very, I get very, like, my heart becomes very heavy from the way that we treat the planet. It really bothers me the way that, and not only that we treat it that way, but people are so unaware and disconnected. And so I feel like part of my purpose in life is to do something toward that end. And so I'm saying that to say that I feel that we all have to get connected, part of us all getting connected to our soul's purpose, understanding ourselves as second wave individuals, and doing our work is connected to our ability to heal the concept of mother. This is why the mother wound is being healed. This is why, you know, this pandemic and people sitting down and realizing that them driving too much is causing the air to look like crap. Like, the sky doesn't need to look like that. It's because you're driving. So, what is your take on that? How do you interpret that?
No, I think you're right on. I think that, we're here to, the awakening. We know we're here for an awakening. Everybody sees it, right? It doesn't matter how awake you are. Everybody sees we're waking up. Okay. So, like, they're all agreeing, like, yes, there's something going on here that's really different. And the different thing is that as we wake up, we need to be able to connect in with the earth, because the earth, we are part of the earth. We are made of earth. We're made of the elements of earth. We are connected to earth consciousness. We can't not be. We're on it. We're made of it. We're birthed from it. So we are it. And so we need to respect ourselves. And in respecting ourselves and respecting our co-creative capacity on the earth, then we respect the earth, because as we get tapped back into that matronly, that mother earth, that presence that created us in this physicality, in this physical realm, right? So we're talking physical manifestation. So you could think of, like, the mother is the physical manifestation of our divine selves. And, if you want to think about the father is like the spirit self, right? The higher self, like the eternal self. So you've got the masculine and the feminine. So all of that works together. So we're in our bodies, which is the physical manifestation of matter. We have to tune into that. We have to connect with that. We have to listen to it. And as we become part of that, and this is part of the waking up, we get out of our egoic consciousness and we get into our spirit self, that side of us that's like tuned into all the stuff that's here, like the earth and the plants and other people and the water and, you know, everything. Then we get the messages we need. You know, as we meditate, we get the messages we need. As we sit and ground on the earth, we get the messages we need. And we know what's right because our heart starts to open. And as our heart starts to open, we feel. And as we feel, we know things because our feeling sense is way more powerful than our minds. And so our body is constantly telling us information. It's a very amazing piece of technology, this human body. And, you know, we don't need to make AI. Like, we really don't need to go any further with technology and all that stuff because it's not important. What we need to do is understand this being right here, this body right here, this, you know, we've been gifted this vessel and we totally take it for granted. We don't even use like most of our brain, but we don't even know what it's for. But we're going to go like create something like artificial intelligence. Really? Like, you don't even know what your own mind is for. You're going to go create this. You're going to go create a pill. Well, you don't even understand what all the plants in the jungle and what they're supposed to do for you. You don't even understand what the dandelion does on your front yard. So how are you going to go create something better than Mother Nature? You don't even understand the environment you live in. So this is where we got to start realizing humility. We have the greatest teacher there is called Mother Earth.
Yep.
And she is the most patient teacher and will let us do all kinds of atrocious things to ourselves and to the planet without eradicating us. There's only been 5 extinctions. There's been plenty of stuff that's happened in the last several thousand years that could have been worthy of extinction. But we kept going because of the grace of Mother Earth allowed us to keep experimenting, learning, and growing until the point where the balance gets so out of whack that she has to do something to correct it. Just like a good mother, right? Like, as a good mother, you're very patient. You know where your children, you can see what they're doing. You have visibility into their trajectory. You understand the process they're going through. And you're guiding, you're letting them stumble, you're letting them fall, you're guiding here, you're guiding there, you're providing messages. They don't listen to anything you say. You keep going, like just holding space for them to figure it out. So we have a lot to learn from the earth. And, you know, as mothers, we have powerful voices that we don't always use, that we could be using, you know, the mother voice. Everybody listens to the mother voice, but for some reason we don't share it. We don't speak from passion and conviction from that place in our womb, that mother voice. We don't speak that mother voice enough. And that mother voice needs to say things like, listen, wake up. We need to respect our mother. We need to respect this earth. We need to respect the plants. We need to figure out what they're doing and not just like try to recreate stuff. Like, let's actually learn from this planet. I feel like that's the movement in the second wave.
I got nothing else to say.
Mic drop. No, but
you know, seriously, it's really, it literally saddens me, and this is why I'm creating a couple of courses that I'm creating to teach children about the earth. And because I realize that even in speaking to adults, I will hear adults say, oh, you know, we keep innovating technology to make our lives easier as humans. Are we?
Is it easier? Because we're all separated. We've created technology that actually, arguably, many people are arguing is making us sick and giving us cancer, right?
Right.
The 5G and the radiation.
And
so
all
like,
you're doing is mimicking Mother Earth with that. And
because
not even mimicking it well, simply because when you create AI technology, when you create these technology, the code in of themselves is full of biases and full of our lower human, you know, forms and understanding. So are we really advancing?
Well, and they say like we have high-speed internet, which is great, right? We can communicate with each other like over the internet, and we can communicate our thoughts and everything. We can have these conversations. But guess what? If you actually like dedicated yourself to opening up your third eye and your psychic gifts that are in your brain that you don't use because you don't know how to use them, and you know, and then the fluoride in the water like restricts the ability for you to use them and things like that, your poor diets and all of these things. If you actually like ate well and supported your body to be healthy, you'd open up psychic gifts that you would never need this actually, because it's not necessary. It sort of makes it easier, but you know, we're verging on a whole new potential in the human genome, in the human mind, and the human evolution, where we're not even going to need that. And we know it exists already. Like every mother can check, every single mother, if she gets quiet, can tap into her children and like feel how they're feeling.
Mm-hmm.
Like every mother can tap into her children and go, how's my child feeling?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So that's just right there. Like, what if you could expand that gift? And then that's the gift that you use in your life to figure out like the truth and to figure out what's actually happening, to solve conflicts, to create peace, to create understanding, is using the mother gift you already have and expanding that and learning how it works, rather than trying to like find some other external outside solution. No, it's in here. It's right in your body. You've got all the receptors and everything you need right here.
I totally agree. And you know, it's a difficult concept for many people to grasp because well, first of all, we have a skewed definition of technology. I often have to teach that technology is not computers. Technology is this is technology. Okay. You know, the bark off of the tree is technology. Technology is not defined as computers and phones. Technology is anything that you use to lift yourself up, but you have to really look at the totality of something to see whether or not it is actually technology. Because yes, you know, there are natural things in nature that can take you out too. Right?
There are. There's medicines, and if
It's
you
medicine. It's
misuse it,
technology. If you misuse it, it will be, you know, if you overuse it, if you.
yeah.
But this is knowledge and wisdom that we have, but now because of profit and things like that, we want to create all this stuff, and it's like we don't need all this stuff. We don't need all of it.
And then in the creating of all that stuff, we're creating imbalance too. You know, we're creating a lot of imbalance.
So much imbalance. And we can take that from the outside and look at how the imbalance has been created on the inside and really look at that to propel our ascension and what we actually need, what we don't need. And I think that there's a reason why we're going through this whole process of people wanting to purge. But even in the process of purging, we're seeing not only did we not need all of this stuff, but it's like, where is all this stuff going?
Yeah, where's it going to go now that you're purging it? It's going to go to the dump, and then what?
And then what? It can't biodegrade. It's not going. Anyway, I can get into this deeply, but I'm going to stop there because we are about at our time. And I do want you to tell people about how they can connect with you, give some information on anything that you have for the audience, and
yeah, absolutely. Well, my website is kerrihummingbird.com, Kerri hummingbird.com. And I lead all kinds of different things. I've got some programs that dropped in from the COVID isolation called Liberation series. I do a lot of channeling, so I'll open up and channel guidance from ascended masters, and I will share things that I'm hearing in the collective and also from those spaces. And then I facilitate healings. So I've been, you know, so I don't heal people. I just they call me the door opener. I just open the door, and then everyone's ancestors and higher selves like have a space then to perform the healing on behalf of everybody that's part of the group. And then I'm just holding the space because I'm the door opener. So that's it. And it's powerful what happens in those spaces when I get out of the way and I just let it all happen. It's pretty amazing. So I do that kind of work. I like that work. I do individual work if people want to do healing work. I do rainbow light healings. So like pranic healing has a lot, and Reiki healing, they have a lot of colors. And I work with the rainbow spectrum. So that's the work that I do. And I love it because anybody can have any color they want. And, you know, it's their choice. and they can have the whole rainbow if they want, which is also really fun. And it's just, it's one of those mystery experiences when you start stepping into the divine feminine that you just don't expect, because your brain hasn't been open to that yet. So it's part of the mystery, which is my path of healing, is the mystery. It's the mystery of the Mother Earth. It's the mystery of healing. It's the mystery of spirit that has opened me up to, everything I'm doing today. And that's what I share with people. So I love it, Cecile. It's like so fun. I'm always surprised. I never know what's going to happen.
Absolutely.
And I like it that way, actually.
Yeah, I agree. As I'm moving into trusting my gifts more, I mean, I've done things sporadically over the past, but it's like, all right, Cecile, when the things keep on hitting you in the back of your head, you're like, all right, but
that's your ancestors like bonking you, like wake up.
Come on now.
You have plenty of ancestors that know how to do healing. You just have to call on them.
Exactly. I trust me. I know. I've known for many years.
Yeah, they're talking to you.
But yeah, so thank you for doing that work, because it is powerful work. It is a necessary work. It is the part of shifting the energies that we need shifted and recognized in the earth right now.
It's going to take every one of us, Cecile. Every single one of our voices, every single one of our journeys is important, and we have to be able to listen to each other, hear each other, not try to change each other, just listen.
That's it.
Listen to each other,
and not place any judgment on.
That's so hard, isn't it?
It's so tough, so very, very tough. But it's like, when you don't put the label on it, then you can just be more clear to hear, what is happening here. So I thank you so much. So please visit Kerri's website. Check out her book, The Second Wave. You will not be disappointed. And I look forward to speaking to you again. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right. And thank you all for listening. And I'll see you on the next episode. Peace. Did you like that? I know it was as informative for you as it was for me. Look, this is a process for all of us. And to keep this process going, I would love to invite you to donate to our podcast. We want to continue to give you high-level content, beautiful content that enlightens and inspires and broadens your vision to elevate you and evolve. So please feel free to go to the podcast page at anchor.fm/Mommy Matters. We would love to hear your questions and comments as well, so that we can discuss them in future podcasts. And you can email that to momevolve@gmail.com. You can also visit the website and send your comments there. www.mommyevolve.com. And I look forward to seeing you in the next episode. Peace and love.